Hello and welcome to Zero Cool Gaming and today's TV show review. Today we're going to be reviewing a show called The Greatest American Hero. Now, this one's pretty interesting as far as how the show itself started. The pilot for this show was actually a 2-hour featured film. Sort of. I mean, it was a featured film for TV. Very well done. For its time. Uh, Good acting, good writing. Um, the camera work. I mean, it was really well done for its time, as far as the pilot goes. The TV show itself, um, yeah, the production value went down drastically. But if you wanted to look at it as a superhero TV show, it definitely fit that bill. Um, this show was a comedy. It truly teaches nothing. Um, and I guess it was just meant for, entertainment purposes, comic relief, things to that effect. This show obviously had a lot of politics that was mixed into it. When I originally watched this a long time ago, I had no idea that the references that they make that they didn't resonate with me because I had no reference for them. So in that respect, I didn't notice that it had all of that rhetoric within the show. But basically, it's a I think it was a comedy designed to, shall we say, subvert expectations. Um, it went for 3 seasons, which truly is not very long. Not for shows back then. And there were many reasons for it. One of the main reasons for it is that the show was going nowhere. Like I said, it taught nothing. But it did have a lot of politics in it. Regardless of what your politics is, that's what this show was full of. And I'll show you what I mean by that goes to the extreme when it comes to the critics for this show. This was right at the end of the like the end of season 3. In the pilot, um, I believe this guy was the actual actor for the American Hero show, the fantasy show that's within the show. Anyway, yes, and then this guy ends up getting a spacesuit from aliens. Yeah, because that makes sense. And he loses the instruction manual, so of course he doesn't know how to use any of the abilities that the suit has. And that's kind of the premise of the whole show, is kind of finding stuff out as they go. It's the best way to put that. Now, when you look at Rotten Tomatoes, I think I'm starting to understand what it is that Rotten Tomatoes has done with their critics rating and user ratings. How they've readjusted it for today's world to make it more reflective of the reality around us. Yeah, that's all a bunch of lies. I'm sure that's what their PR team states, but it's all a bunch of lies. Their scoring used to reflect reality, truly, because you would see critics giving something one rating and the people who actually watched it giving it a different rating. And Rotten Tomatoes has worked very hard to obfuscate that. And the reason that they've done that is because it had become blatantly obvious that there were certain shows that critics were being paid to shill for, and the audience score made that blatantly obvious. And since they got called out for it over and over and over and over again, they've been adjusting their scoring mechanics to better serve their public. And what I think they've actually done is they've tried to adjust their critic ratings to match their audience ratings. Not perfectly, because then that would be way too obvious, but because there are so few ratings after they deleted a lot of them left, what they were left with was adjusting their critic ratings to match their user ratings. And yeah, they just took the users down to 5 because, when you remove 300 or 400, it makes more sense. Truly, though, this is what I think they've done. They've adjusted their mechanics to where the critic and user ratings will always be probably within 20 points of each other. But that's just my theory. We'll see how that pans out over the next few months as I continue to do reviews. I'll continue to take a look at this and see where the ratings are setting and why. Because yeah, this should not be at 100. Period. This wasn't a 100% show when it came out, and it's certainly not a 100% show today. It's better than 50% of the shows out there. I'll give it that. It's probably should be 60, maybe 70. Probably 60. Between 50 and 60. And the critic rating, in truth, should probably reflect that as well. You'll have some critics that like it just for the subversion and things to that effect. Same thing with the audience. I mean, critics are supposed to be normal people, and today it's obvious that they're not. But regardless, this is a clear indication, as far as I'm concerned, that Rotten Tomatoes is heavily weighing their matrix between critics and users to obfuscate the reality of critics being paid to give good ratings to certain shows. But that's just my opinion. What do I know? So what is my review of The Greatest American Hero? It's a superhero TV show. Meant to break away from the Batman and Robins of an earlier time. Did they do that with this show? Not really. What they really created was a fantasy sci-fi where aliens were trying to help the human race and we failed to meet their expectations. So, yeah, it's one of those things. But anyway, that's my rant for the day, and I hope you enjoy the rest of yours.